Welcome Winnipeg to the Wine of Love. It is the wine festival, and I have my wine guru here, Rod Biebrich. You are a wine agent, and it's your responsibility to make sure we have the best wines available here in Manitoba so we can all drink them.
It's what a great bit of responsibility to have. You know, as much as I'd love to take lots of credit for it, there's a whole bunch of us, and you know, I think some of us are very fortunate that we're in this kind of business where we get to hang out and do things that people think that sometimes we're just playing, but you know, parts of it are rather serious, and then parts of it are kind of fun. And I mean, as far as the Winnipeg Wine Festival raising money for Special Olympics, of course, it's a great cause, and we're happy to be here.
It's always a great time. We're right now on location at Boa Lounge, and this is a time to meet some of the wine people that you have brought in. And of course, it's all their babies right here. So Rod, let's go right to it. What is popular? What are you bringing in?
Well, you know, I mean, things run in cycles, and so what we're finding now is that aromatic whites and blends are coming back into vogue. We certainly saw about 20 years ago that, and probably as a result of California, where a lot of single varietals really kind of took the stage, and people were saying, oh, what's Cabernet and what's Merlot, and you kind of just end up explaining to them that it's really they're individual grapes. And I tend to tell the story about apples because we understand apples. You know, if you go to the store and you have a Granny Smith, it's crisp and tart, and if you have a Golden Delicious or a Spartan or whatever, how the textures change and the amount of sweetness and acidity changes. So, but when you go to buy grapes, you see green seedless, red seedless, but they're all individual varietals. And worldwide, there's over 2,000 different grapes used to make wine. And then you've got these fabulous individuals who go and make something from it, which is fabulous, you know. Some
great stories that we're going to hear. But quickly now, what do Manitobans like to drink? What is the favorite, red or white?
The trend has been going more towards reds, although aromatic whites, so whites with lots of big nose stuff are really starting to come, I'm going to say, back into vogue. But yeah, sparklings are also big too. Lots of people think that sparkling is only for a wedding or you know, Mother's Day, Father's Day, or dumping over their head at midnight on New Year's Eve, right? Eve, yes. But sparklings, there's a lot of people who like to drink sparkling all the time, and so. So we're seeing a real resurgence in sparkling wine again.
Okay, and there's apparently somebody very famous here, Alan Jackson, but not the country rock
Not the
star.
Country singer, and he's a doctor, Dr. Alan Jackson.
From he's Jackson-Triggs?
Well, he started along Jackson-Triggs wine with his friend and partner Don Triggs, who's originally from Treeherne, Manitoba. They built this really very large, well-known wine company that ended up eventually being purchased by a large conglomerate out of the U.S. And now Alan's kind of become like he's become a country gentleman winemaker, making things that he just wants to make and consume for himself. So yeah, he's an interesting character. Just met him for the first time last night. You know, we'd spoken on the phone before, but yeah, he's kind of a neat guy, and he's got lots of stories to tell, and there's things to learn from all of them.
Most definitely. Well, thank you so much, Rod. We're going to go on our little journey now. Let's meet some of the fascinating people that Rod has brought here for the Winnipeg Wine Festival.
The name of this wine is Il Vino dell'Amore, which means the wine of love. And the reason, there's two main reasons. One is the place where we produce it. It's in Padua, between the two cities of love. One is Venice, the romantic city, and the other one is Verona, the city of Romeo and Juliet. And there's another reason, because we call it the wine of love, and it's the taste. So our Moscato is sparkling and sweet at the beginning, but a bit sharp at the end, as love. So
we in Chile, we have evolved a lot in terms of the way that we're making our wines, with the introduction of new grape varieties, the discovery of the Carmener. So what we're doing now is really getting people to know more about the wines from Chile and the quality from Chile. So we're going one step further and really getting people to go to Chile to the more expensive wines. So that's a challenge now, because the wines from Chile, with 30 years of evolution, they have really evolved. for the good. So the challenge together with the Canadian people is to get them to drink all the different price ranges from the Chilean wines. And we got all of them, so that's really good. And the great varieties as well.
We're very close to the Pacific Ocean. We're only 10 kilometers away. So each morning we get an ocean breeze from the Pacific Ocean that goes right into the vines and covers our whole valley completely. That's very good for the grapes because it lowers the temperature. During the day, that usually clears up at around noon. You get a lot of heat, a lot of direct sunlight because of the desert. And then in the afternoon, you start getting cool wind currents in from the Andes Mountains. So that lowers the temperature as well. So you have very large differences of temperature during the day and the night. So even though we're in the Atacama Desert, it's actually a cool climate region. So it's a very special climate. So it's very different to Central Valley and to the south of the other wine regions in Chile. As for the soil, thousands of years ago, this used to be below sea level. So it's of calcaric origin. That means very rich in mineralities, and you'll be able to see that in the wines. You'll be able to taste it. High natural acidity. So it's a very special valley. The truth is, it's a viticultural paradise. And it's something very new. It's fascinating, and that's what makes us different from the other regions in Chile. Tamaya is a boutique winery. We focus on premium boutique wines, very limited production. Today with me I have, we call it MCS because it's a blend of 3 grapes, Malbec, Cabernet, and Syrah. This particular wine is 50% Malbec, 20% Cabernet, and 30% Syrah.
Nero d'Avola is a grape that comes specifically from Sicily. So you know the island in the south of Italy. That's the only place in the world that Nero d'Avola comes from. It's one of those grape varieties that's really up and coming. It's sort of slowly making itself, known in the mainstream. So most people, still don't know what it is, but it's one of those wines that makes friends very easily. It's got, a really juicy palate with a nice backbone, some useful acidity, deep red berry. It's one of those wines you can have on the back porch, but it really sings when you match it up with food, just like any Italian wine.
The color of the evening today is rosé, and the gentleman of the evening right here is Alan Jackson. Alan, first of all, welcome to Winnipeg.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. It's delightful. This is a great event.
Now, Rod has pumped you up, so to speak, as someone with such a great history and now entering another different era of winemaking on your own. But really, Jackson-Triggs is a household name around the world. And it was your baby at one point.
It was my baby, and Union is my new baby.
Yes.
Jackson-Triggs is all grown up, and Union's the new baby around my household.
So how did you even get into the whole winemaking business?
Well, I was actually in university studying and trying to find something interesting to study, and the man who was my supervisor was a wine aficionado, and this is back around 1970, so he was ahead of his time. And he said, why don't we study wine? That would be interesting, and I wanted to do something applied, and that really appealed to me, so I did that at university for 6 years. Then I graduated and got into the industry, and I've stayed there for the next 30 years.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so you've gone from creating a hugely popular line of wines to now doing your own business. But how have you seen the whole wine industry change over the years, Alan?
Well, originally, frankly, the Canadian wines when I started weren't very good. They were kind of embarrassingly bad. So our goal was to how do we improve them. So what's happened, in the old days it was mostly kind of high alcohol dessert wines, like sort of cheap ports and sherries, and then it went into table wine. And then once table wine, then varietal wines have become popular. And that's what really Jackson-Triggs was all about. And now it's come a circle back where Union are all multi-varietal blends. So it's been the whole sort of process of table wines becoming popular and also becoming more of a people wine. They used to be very intimidating in the wine culture, and now what we're trying to do is make it a people-friendly approach, and really that's what things like the Winnipeg Wine Festival are all about, to give people a chance to try wines and have fun doing it. And that's the key word, is to have fun. It's supposed to be enjoyable, it's supposed to be social. There's no exam at the end of the evening.
Thank goodness. All right, so let's talk about your new baby here, Unison. The rosé is wonderful, and rosés are really growing in popularity.
Yes, they are. But what we wanted to do, there's not very many that are dry enough that you could have them with food. So this one's quite dry, and it's meant so you can have it with a fruit salad, or you can have it, you know, with shrimp on a fruit salad. So it's a very approachable wine, and it's dry enough that it won't clash with your meal.
And I'll have to confess, I still do not understand Pinot Noir, but Pinot Noir is a very, I know that the grape is very hard to grow.
Right.
The taste, to me, it tastes like Kool-Aid.
Oh, well, it's a little bit of an acquired taste, I would say. Pinot Noir, they call it the heartbreak grape because it's so hard to grow in the vineyard, and it's hard to handle in the winery. So it really takes an experienced hand to do Pinot Noir properly.
But you've made one.
Yeah, we have made one, but ours has Pinot Noir and Gamay Noir in it. So you might like that better because Gamay Noir is a really nice, approachable grape, and it marries very well with the Pinot Noir. And what Union is all about, when I said it's multiple varieties, what we're trying to do is make synergies happen in the wine glass so that the sum is greater than the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. So
most definitely, and you always have to figure in Mother Nature too, right?
You certainly do.
Yes, you never know.
That's why our Pinot Gamay Noir, the new one, is from 2010, which was the best year we've ever had in Niagara for growing grapes. And so that was when I said to my partner Andrew, we have to do a Pinot Noir blend from that year because it's just fabulous. So.
Well, you know what? Congratulations, Alan, that you know that you can have this line for yourself. And I guess through all the years of being in this business, now you can rekindle old friendships, make new ones. What has the wine business given you, and what do you feel you've given back?
Well, if you find a way to make a living that you enjoy, you never work a day in your life. I always say that. And I've never worked a day in my life by that standard. I love wine, and I love working in the wine business.
Well, we're so happy to have you. What a thrill and an honor.
I'm thrilled to be here. This is a great event. Thank you for being interested in it, too.
Well, and hey, 20 more years of great Unison wine. Cheers.
Right. Cheers.
This is Backstage at the Boa Lounge. Great wines right in our own backyard. For Shaw TV, I'm Tracy Koga.